fly ball, right field, Jew, back, track, see ya, ball game, a 2-run, walk-off home run for Didi. What a big win for the Yankees. They snatched victory out of the jaws of defeat, and they win this one 9-7.
Sports fans love a good comeback, whether that be with an individual player or whether that be with a team. Kenny C back on the mic here to give you guys my top 3 greatest comebacks in a 7-game postseason series, specifically for teams that trailed 3-0 and came back to win it. Sorry to the NFL, obviously you don't make the cut here. I'm talking about MLB, NBA, and NHL. Across those 3 major sports, there have been just 5 teams to come back down 3-0 and win a series. 4 in the NHL, 1 in the MLB, and there have been 0 in the NBA. So an honorable mention would be the most recent team to do it, or attempt to do it, almost pull it off. The Boston Celtics last year almost came back in the Eastern Conference Finals to beat the Heat. They trailed 3-0. They tied it up, but they lost in a Game 7. But let's get down to my top 3 that actually pulled it off. Here we go.
Pass across, backhand, score! Talk about patience. What a play by Anze Kopitar.
Slotting in at number 3 on my list, I have the 2014 Los Angeles Kings, who took down the San Jose Sharks after they trailed 3-0 in the first round of the 2014 Western Conference playoffs. I also put this Kings team on the list and at number 3 for this stat. They compiled the most elimination game wins in a single playoff year. All 3 series that they had leading up to the Stanley Cup, they won them in 7 games and won a Game 7. In this specific series, they lost the first 2 at home and then lost the third in San Jose in overtime, courtesy of Mr. Shark Patrick Marleau. Game 4 was when the comeback commenced. Marian Gaborik and Justin Williams combined for 4 goals, on pace for a 6-3 win, staving off elimination and allowing the Kings to see another day. Game 5, Jonathan Quick put on a goalie clinic with a 30-save shutout. The Kings went on to win that one 3-0. In Game 6, Justin Williams and Anze Kopitar scored 2 apiece to win that 4-1. And Game 7, Anze Kopitar stayed hot and scored the go-ahead game winner in the second period to cap off a 5-1 victory. They also compiled 2 empty netters at the end of that game, and they went on to beat the Ducks in 7 games and the Blackhawks in 7 games, and then beat the New York Rangers in the Stanley Cup in 5 games.
Here it is, ground ball to second. Reese, the Boston Red Sox have won the pennant.
Coming in at number 2 on my list, you see the jersey behind me. Unfortunately, coming in at this spot, the 2004 Boston Red Sox. Got to give credit where credit is due. The Red Sox took down the New York Yankees in the ALCS after trailing the series 3-0. They are the first and only team in MLB history to do so, and they're on this list for another reason as well. In beating the Yankees that year, it allowed them to advance to the World Series, where they swept the Anaheim Angels 4-0 and break the curse of the Great Bambino, an 86-year curse that had been around since 1918, which was their last World Series win. And this, in beating the Yanks in the series, was just in the ALCS, was just their 5th pennant win. Let's get into the series here. After trailing 3-0, Game 4, fresh off a 19-8 walloping from the Bombers. In Game 3, the Sox were able to come away with a nail-biter victory. Pinch runner Dave Roberts stole second, followed by third baseman Bill Mueller belting an RBI single, allowing them to tie the game and force extras, where Big Papi David Ortiz comes into play. He hits a 2-run dinger in the 12th to keep the Red Sox alive. Ortiz would not stop there. Then came Game 5, where he did it again in the 14th inning. A walk-off single, driving in Johnny Damon, capped off a 5-4 win in that one. Which, by the way, in Game 4, just to backtrack a little, Mariano Rivera blew the save on Bill Mueller's RBI single in that one, which is an absolute rarity. So that was a huge shock at that time. So back to it. Then comes Game 6, Curt Schilling, the bloody sock king. The guy's got 3 sutures to sew up a torn tendon sheath, and he plays through it and tosses a gem. 7 innings, gives up 1 run and 4 hits with 4 strikeouts. This was a game that was filled with drama and controversy. One of the most controversial games of a postseason in recent memory for sure, because you had in the 4th inning, Mark Bellhorn's 3-run blast for the Red Sox to left field, I believe it was. A fan interferes. The ball falls back into play. The umps say play it, prompting a very angry Terry Francona to come out of the Red Sox dugout and demand a challenge. They overrule it and they do call it a home run. Red Sox tack on another run. They're up 4-0. Then came the 8th inning. A-Rod batted Bronson Arroyo's glove down and allowed Jeter to score. It would have been 4-3, but the umps ruled it interference, so they had to call that one back, and the Yanks still trailed 4-2. And then in the top of the 9th as well, Orlando Cabrera was safe at first. It should have been a double play. Umps ruled him safe, causing Yankee fans to go into even more of a frenzy, to the point where home plate ump Joe West had to contact Mayor Bloomberg at the time to get the NYPD in there in riot gear just to chill out the situation. Then comes Game 7. The Yanks put up no fight in this one. The Red Sox get their revenge for the walloping that they took in Game 3. Johnny Damon fuels them with 2 home runs en route to a 10-3 clobbering victory of the Yanks, capping off the comeback. The number 1 spot on this list is reserved for the team with the greatest comeback in a 7-game series when trailing 3-0. That team is the 1942 Toronto Maple Leafs. Why am I putting them at number 1? Because they came back in the championship series in the Stanley Cup final against the Detroit Red Wings to win the series. You had Hall of Fame coach Jack Adams behind the bench for the Red Wings and Clarence Hapday for the Maple Leafs. When they were trailing 3-0, Hapday actually pulled for the rest of the series his best scorer and Hall of Famer Gordie Drillin and his best defenseman Bucko McDonald. And he still went on to win the series. In Game 4, tied 2-2 going into the 3rd, and then 3-3 in the 3rd. Nick Metz, left winger for the Maple Leafs, scores the go-ahead game winner with 7 minutes to go to stave off elimination. Bit of drama in that one with about a minute left in that game. Right winger Eddie Wares was thrown out and given a game misconduct for the Red Wings, where ref Mel Hardwood actually dropped the puck before Wares left the ice, and they called a too many men on the ice penalty on center Dan Grasso, prompting Jack Adams to come off the bench and actually punch Mel Hardwood right in the face, to the point where he was suspended for the next game. Adams was. E.B. Goodfellow would take over behind the bench for Game 5, and president of the NHL at the time, Frank Calder, along with Hardwood, had to be escorted off the ice and protected because fans were throwing stuff. Game 5 comes along in Toronto. Toronto wallops the Red Wings 9-3. Don Metz, who's Nick Metz's brother. Both those two brothers, by the way, went on to win 9 Stanley Cups with the Maple Leafs. Don Metz scores a hat trick with 2 assists. Nick, his brother, contributed big time the game before, and then it was Don's turn. Then in Game 6, Don Metz again scores the go-ahead game winner in that one in the second period. And about 14 seconds into the second, and then goalie Turk Broda would do the rest, recording a shutout and holding off the Wings to force Game 7. 2 more goals were scored in that third period. A 3-0 win for the Maple Leafs as they go to a Game 7 at home. The Wings led 1-0 going into the third, where the Maple Leafs would then come back, where David Sweeney Schreiner would score the equalizer in the third, and Peter Langell scored the game winner for the Maple Leafs just 2 minutes after that. He played just 3 NHL seasons, Langell did, but he scored the biggest goal probably in Toronto Maple Leafs franchise history. I know they won many cups after that, but that was a huge moment for them. And then Schreiner would then tally another one. He's a Hall of Famer as well, by the way, Sweeney Schreiner. 3-1 victory in Game 7 for the Maple Leafs at Maple Leafs Garden. I believe they're also the only team in sports history to come back down 3-0 and win a Game 7 at home and pull that off. So that is my top 3. Drop in the comment section below who your top 3 would be. Give me your remarks on my top 3. Anything you want to say, drop it below, and be sure to subscribe.